topic for today. The biggest mistakes a new freight broker can make. We're going to talk about a couple of those. Now, this is from our experience as a broker and working with brokers, clients that I've had over the years with Tautoa. Matter of fact, I'm the lead consultant with Tautoa. If you'd like to know more about Tautoa, we're a transportation and logistics training and consulting firm. We specialize in working with freight brokers, freight broker agents, helping people get started in the industry. We provide placement into our mentorship program where they can begin their broker operation as an agent through us so we can monitor their progress and what they're doing. They get consulting with that as well, so we are overseeing what they're doing, making sure they're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, here to answer questions, make recommendations, whatever they may need. But you can learn more about Tautoa by going to our website at tautoa.com, TALTOA.com. We have several different packages to choose from. Everything from packages for a freight brokerage that includes the mentorship program, 12 months of our standard 12-month consulting for a freight brokerage and website, web design, web package, turnkey, all the way down to a basic package, that just includes the training and the ability to begin your broker operation as an agent, followed by consulting period. But you can check that out on the website, tautoa.com. But we tell all of our clients that when you first begin your broker operation, and especially if you're going into the mentorship program, but if you're a new freight brokerage, freight broker agent, it doesn't matter. Your focus has to be building the customer base. Now, one customer does not make a freight brokerage. How many customers do you need? It depends on your volume of freight, but you can't ever have too many. I've had clients ask me, what happens when I get too many customers? That's not a problem. You get too many customers, hire someone to help you. You'll be at a good point to be able to do that. Now, the more customers you obtain, the more load you'll have available to you. Now, this is critical during the startup period. Startup period is from day one of the operation until your whole day is consumed with moving loads, working with your customers. But in the beginning, you have no customers, so you have no loads. You've got to get customers to have loads. Now, we always recommend our clients, when you're making a sales call to a potential customer after lunch, their time. Now, if you're not familiar with time zones and the different time zones across the country, well, do a search on Google. There's plenty of maps available. All right? Time zone maps, print it out. East Coast, then you got Central Time, then you got Mountain Time, Pacific Time. So, like right now, I'm in Central Time. If it was 9 o'clock Central Time a.m., it would be 10 o'clock on the East Coast. In Denver, it would be 8 o'clock, and in California, it would be 7 a.m. You got to learn your time zones. That's critical. And always remember, I had a dispatcher tell me this a long time ago, do as the Romans do. So if you're working with a customer and they're in Denver, they're an hour behind you, or whatever the case may be, you're working on their time, not your time. Okay. Now, you've got to build a customer base. That customer base, as you start building a customer base, they will start making their loads available to you on a daily basis, and hopefully they'll make a lot of loads available to you. And this is part of that process of working your way out of that startup period. It doesn't happen overnight. That's why you don't start brokering today and start making money next week. It's going to take weeks, maybe months, before you start really producing that type of income you want to be making as a freight broker or freight broker agent as far as that goes. Some customers you're going to find they may have a load or two a week. Other customers may have a load or two a day. Some customers may have hundreds of loads a week. Until you're in the door working with that customer, you'll never, ever know their true freight volume. Now, the mistake. You're a new broker. You're out there making your sales calls. You're calling potential customers. You're giving them your spiel. And lo and behold, you get a customer. They say, yeah, we'll use you. And they say, matter of fact, here's a couple of loads. Here's a couple of loads you can help me with. The new freight broker gets so excited. Hey, this is what they've been working for. This is what they've been trying to obtain. A customer with loads. Now they have the opportunity to go out here and attempt to broker these loads to make money. So maybe they had just started prospecting that afternoon, making their sales calls, maybe 15 minutes into it, maybe it's 1 o'clock, something like that, they get a customer. They offer them a couple of loads. Next thing you know, they're off and running. They hang up the phone, they quit prospecting, they post the loads on the load board, and the next thing you know, they're full tilt, diving into trying to find trucks to move these loads. 4 or 5 o'clock comes along and they're totally discouraged, not able to find a truck. They made hundreds of phone calls to find the trucks to move those loads. Nothing. What that broker should have done is posted the loads, get right back on the phone making their sales calls. Because it's a learning process. Now, you got to back up a little bit. That new customer that just agreed to work with you as one of their brokers, you have to understand they are working with a number of different brokers and trucking companies. Maybe you called them at 1 o'clock or 12:30 or whatever time it was. Well, they've made those loads available all day for the most part. It probably started at 7 o'clock that morning, making those loads available to their current stable of brokers and trucking companies. Here we are by 1 or 2 o'clock and they still don't have a truck. That means the brokers that they work with on a regular basis were not able to get trucks for those loads. These are pretty much, more times than not, going to be the leftover. See what I mean? The leftovers. So if the brokers that have experience and the trucking companies that are out there, if nobody wanted to work that load or take that load, or the brokers they work with were not able to find trucks to move said loads, more than likely you're not either. But you've got a customer. The thing is, and this is one thing we drive home with our clients, is you cannot afford to waste time. Time is a commodity you cannot get back. You got to work smart. You've got to take full advantage of the time, and during the startup period, your focus has to be on building a customer base, because what you want to do is obtain a quantity of customers so you have a quantity of loads so you can start learning from those loads. Which loads are you posting that trucking companies are calling you about? Generally, there's 3 things that a trucking company is looking at to make a decision if they want to haul that load or not. Destination, the weight, and the rate. If you get in the ballpark on all three of those elements there, you'll get a truck for the load. But until you know which loads to focus on to where you can obtain a truck to move that load, you've got to be on the phone obtaining customers and keep adding to that. I've said this before and I've been questioned about it, and that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. When I was brokering full-time, I was posting 400 to 600 loads on average a day. That does not mean I was moving that many. It means that I had enough customers that were making 400 to 600 loads available to me on a regular basis. People say, how did you post that many loads every day? It's the rollover. The rollover function. We'll talk about that another day if you don't know what that is. Basically, in a nutshell, it allows you to click a button on the load board and it will automatically change the date to whatever date you want it to be. So you don't have to post them every day. Just at the end of the day, click the button, roll it over, and it's there tomorrow. All you got to do tomorrow is come in and refresh. That's another thing we can be talking about later on. All right. We've already gone about 10 minutes into this biggest mistakes a new freight broker can make, so we'll call this part 1. Part 2 be coming up here in the next few days.